Today I visit with actor, artist, woodcarver, and more, John Wolf of Sedalia, Missouri. I'm Rick J., and this is Spotlight on the Arts. Welcome to Spotlight of the Arts, coming to you from the Lamey's Building in Sedalia, Missouri. I'm Rick J., your host, and I'd first, before turning to our guest, Mr. Wolf, I'd like to do a shout out to a young man, Luke Fowles, out of Salem, Utah. Luke has a tumor, a cancer tumor, and in treatment with a lot of different chemotherapy treatments, trying to arrest his tumor. His mother is along his side at all times, and he's looking naturally for support to get him through this cancer, shall we say. I bring this up because years ago, in radio in Tucson, I was approached by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And the wish for that 8-year-old was to meet Michael Jackson. So I got a hold of Michael's people, and Michael did call me and promised me that he would visit the young man. The young man survived, and Michael did pay a visit in secret, I learned later. So I wish to do the same today and asking for your support and prayers for Luke Fowles there in Salem, Utah. And he's looking for, naturally, at 10 years old, viewers, what have you, followers on Instagram. So that Instagram is Love for Luke 2020 on Instagram. Thank you. And now if you'll join me in welcoming Mr. John Wolf, our artist and more, woodcarver especially, that we'll be highlighting throughout the program today. He has a lot to share with you. So, well, let's get to it. John, let me welcome you to Spotlight on the Arts first. I'm truly excited to have you here on the show today.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to take this opportunity to particularly thank you for allowing me to be a part of this segment. I'm hoping that the audience will find some merit in some of the interests that I've acquired over the years.
Oh, I think so. I've already had people excited about getting to know you. Well, this is your first time on Spotlight on the Arts, so I've been looking forward to your interview and visit. So, John comes to us with multiple skills as a first, I guess, as a wood carver, artist today, and also actor. We'll take a look at John's skills as a wood carver more in the second segment, but you know, we always try to get to know our guests first. So first, please, if you would, tell us a little bit about John Wolf, if you would.
I'll be glad to. If I were to suggest a term that probably describes me best, it would probably be passionate. I'm a very passionate individual, especially about love for my God, and for my country, and for my family.
Amen.
And everything else is pretty much manic obsessive.
I see.
I'm a native Sedalian. 2 months ago, I turned 79. This past month, my wife Helene and I celebrated our 57th wedding anniversary. And marrying her was probably the best thing I've ever done.
I see. That's yes.
As we're looking around here at this wonderful structure, it's a great place to do this interview. I would want you to know that it hasn't always been this way. This 60 plus years ago, when I graduated from high school, this was my first job working here. My father worked here 25 years, My mother worked here 10 years. I worked here for 7. My wife, at this point, was an accomplished hairdresser. And after 7 years of working here, I got laid off. And we decided to keep that from happening again. We might want to be self-employed.
I see.
So I went to hairdressing school and came out, and a year later we bought the salon where we were working. 4 years later we built a new building, and for the last 45 years Helene and I have owned and operated Wolf & Company here in Sedalia.
Wolf & Company here
Yes.
in Sedalia. Now, is that still in existence under new management?
No, the building has been sold. We've been retired for the last 13 years.
Oh, I see. Well, John, could you, that's quite a history, and we'll get more into that here in a few moments. So can you share with the viewers how you became inspired to be a wood carver?
Well, I think that probably I started carving when I was just, 6 or 7 years old. I grew up in a household that didn't have a lot of extra cash, so when your toy that you received for Christmas or your birthday wore out, you had to do something else to, improve on not having a lot of toys.
I see.
So my father always had wood in the workshop and tools, and so we go out there and create.
Excellent. It reminds me of the thought of a child having one of the spinning tops that you put the string around and throw out, made out of wood. So I don't know if you ever did a wooden top.
Oh, we've done just about wood and everything.
Wood and everything.
One of the things that really caused me to become really interested in wood carving, on over the weekend vacation, my parents took us to Branson, and that was before Silver Dollar City. It was just, the early stages, and I saw wood carvers there, and I was just fascinated by them.
Oh yes, I can imagine. That really, the lights went off, and really boosted your inspiration, I guess. Excellent, excellent.
They were, these guys were good, and so I decided that one day I'd like to be doing some of that.
And what age was that, John?
Oh, at that particular point, I was probably a teenager.
Ah.
I really did not do a lot of carving for the next probably 8 or 10 years. And then I had a dentist who became my wood carving buddy.
Ah.
And we attended a lot of shows. Yeah, particularly one in Kansas City. We attended, it was an annual thing, and there were some 200 artists there who just did incredible things.
Yes. Well, I'll take this opportunity to invite you to my September-October Call for Nature's Art. They're at the Run Center of the Department of Natural Resources, and exhibit one of your pieces. There's a vote, People's Choice Award, and a nice plaque and $100 actually for the People's Choice Award that I'll be offering once again. In fact, our first time with the last summer of the 2021, a wood carver did win the People's Choice Award. So you're going to be in good company and maybe some competition, but yet a platform already set as a winner from the previous, the show last year, 2021.
Well, it sounds like fun. It's something I could be interested in. I've never won a best of show, but I've won a lot of ribbons. One of the things that has probably caused me to improve, for 5 straight years I went to a wood carving rendezvous in Branson.
Oh, excellent.
And worked with 4 or 5 of the best caricature carvers probably around today. Most of them are members of the Caricature Carvers of America, which is a fun type of carving to do. And these guys made their living at it, and they're still doing that. They teach anywhere from 15 to 20 seminars a year, write books, and
excellent. Yes,
they do.
Now we're going to share with the viewers a lot of your work that we took time to take some still shots of a few weeks ago before I got bronchitis and canceled the show or the interview. And the viewers are going to be amazed at your work. And when you say the word caricature, that really sort of explains the majority of what we saw in our still shots, but there's some other beautiful work also. Well, John, can you give it an idea how you arrive at a project idea these days?
Well, there are not too many publications that are available out there. At one time there were probably 3 or 4. I read and have a subscription to, Woodcarving Illustrated, and these are carvers from all over the United States who contribute to this magazine, and they're always putting in some of their work, and I'm become accomplished at reproducing their work, and occasionally I do something that's totally original, depending on what the need is. And but I work with their pictures that they've included in the magazine.
Right. You tapped into one of my loves of playing chess, and the shot that you're seeing now on the timeline, that's a beautiful chess piece. But I'd have to be a weightlifter to almost lift that. It's so heavy. What kind of wood do you like to use?
Well, I originally started with walnut. We had a lot of that around, but after watching the other carvers in other venues, they were using basswood. And basswood is lightweight, it carves easily, and holds detail real well.
Can you give us just a brief explanation? What tools? Is this a massive set of tools, or you have basically 4 or 5 tools, carving tools that you like to work with?
I started with 4 or 5 tools. My inventory has since expanded.
I can imagine.
I have lots of tools. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah, it's like your wife, which I got to meet, lovely lady. She's quite the quilter, and you know, quilters, they don't like to tell about their stash of their quilt material. So I can understand that. And it's like me as an artist, I never have enough brushes. I started with 4 or 5 naturally, but one never has enough tools, it seems like, so I can understand that, John. Well, how long does it take you to complete, let's say, an average project?
Well, it depends on the project. Some are smaller and more detailed. When I first started, I was probably doing 1 or 2 pieces a year. They were probably a little larger and probably from walnut, which is harder to carve. Today, I started the project Tuesday, and I just finished it today. You
started that project, you shared with me, a young lady, or lady that I've visited with the Woodcarvers group out of Warrensburg, Missouri, and the president or lead of that is one of our well-known artists in Missouri. So you're part of that group. You started a project, you said, Tuesday of last week. This is Monday of a new week, and you've already finished that.
Well, and sometimes if it's a simple project, I may do 2 or 3 a week.
I see. So you've really, should we say, could say that you've really excelled in, as you learned since 18 years old, what the techniques are and what tools to use, so you can excel. Although you probably don't do that, should we say, in an expeditious manner to begin with, but that's how it flows, I guess.
Well, one of the things that it's hard to put a timeline on a carving is that every one of them is original, and maybe not to me, to everybody else, but they are to me. So I never duplicate something ordinarily. Yes. I do one piece and probably never return to it. Occasionally I will, but most of them are slightly different, and the projects they're just fun to do, and they're relaxing, and they it's nice to be trying different techniques and capturing somebody else's skills.
Well, now of all the projects that we took the photos of the stills, do you have a favorite that you'd like to talk about? We'll share it with the viewers as you're talking about it.
Well, one of them, and it's a massive project, Noah's Ark. And this was something that I found in the magazine and used pretty much the knowledge that they had offered there and duplicated it, but it was a big piece.
Oh yes, it's beautiful, beautiful. Well done. So many caricatures there to visit with or look at, what have you. Well, if the viewers would be interested in wood carving, can you give them an idea where they would start? Look at the camera and tell the viewers where they might start.
Well, first of all is go get a copy of Wood Carving Illustrated and view some of the things that are being done. They have lots of advertisements on equipment that's available, and in choosing your tools and whatever, buy the best that you can afford and keep them, smaller numbers of them until you really find out what works for you.
And keep them sharp.
Absolutely keep them sharp. I spend as much time sometimes honing them as I do carving in a period of time that I'm working.
Well, John, do you have any current shows or exhibits, venues that people would maybe look forward to in the area?
I don't often enter a lot of things. The way I met you was at an art show in Warrensburg, Missouri. And
Mid-Missouri Artists, I believe that was.
Yes, I think it was. And that's also where I met the Old Drum Wood Carving Club. Yes. And I attended that this past Monday for the first time. And finished the project there. And,
okay. Well, you do commission work, I'm sure. If someone has a favorite, do you do commission work? And how do we get a hold of you if that's the case?
Well, I do have an email address, and that's probably the easiest way. It is Helene, Helene, John, John, @yahoo.net.
.net. Okay, very good. Well, John, we must take a break. So please make yourself comfortable, and we'll take a look at these special messages. After the break, John will fill us in on his career as a performing artist, actor. There's so much more here on Spotlight of the Arts, so we'll be right back.
This facility doesn't look anything like it did when I first saw it. My very first job was right here making Levi's for the J.A. Lamey Manufacturing Company. The people who I worked for were great. It was hard work and it was brutal, but the family that owned the building were fair and honest, and they were great to work for. I worked here 7 years. My father worked here 21 years, and my mother 10 years. And it was just a great place. I've never regretted it. I started out in the shipping department, and I graduated up into the cutting room and worked there spreading cloth for most of that period of time. Well, absolutely, Ginger Swearingen would have been the individual who I remember most. She was involved strongly with my acting opportunities, and she was director and producer, and she was fun to work for as well. I've known the whole family for quite a number of years, staff and John and Ginger and Woody, and they were all customers in our business, and they've just done a beautiful job with this. It's just beautiful, and the people that I talk to who have been customers here and visitors have all enjoyed it a great deal. Everyone talks about the quality of the food, and it's just a very entertaining place, and I'm looking forward to it.
Creative, connection, control. Support the arts and be the change. 24 hours a day, 200 countries. The show must go on. Introducing the world's first exclusive platform for artists and creators of all kinds. The biggest stage on earth. Phantom.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Spotlight on the Arts. I continue with my special guest, artist as a wood carver and a performing artist, actor of Sedalia, Missouri, Mr. John Wolf. Well, John, before the break, you shared a lot of information on wood carving, so now I want to take a look into your life as you share with us, and with the viewers especially, your life as an actor, a passion you and I both really share. So please give the viewers how you became interested, or inspired for that matter, to become a performing artist, actor.
Well, I would have to tell you that my friend, who is now passed, Ginger Swearingen, the owner of the building here and somebody I'd known for years, was a customer, and she kept asking if I would be interested in doing this. And in fact, she put a lot of pressure on me. And I said, no, I don't think so. This is something that is best served for somebody else doing it. I thought, well, we'll give it a try. And she was at that point directing South Pacific. So she actually created a role for me in that. The auditions had all passed, but she said, I want you to do this, I want you on stage. So she created the part, and so I became Abner and added my own name, Mality.
I see.
So, and we had fun with that. The productions take about 2 months out of your life. So you have to devote everything to it. You're building sets, you're learning your lines, you're going through all the rehearsals. And
yes. Now this all took place where? Here in Sedalia, Missouri?
Absolutely. The Liberty Lona Theater became Liberty Center. So the plays were being held there, and it was just in the stages of completion at that point.
Yes. Well, now that's nowadays called the Hayden Liberty Center. And you and I are going to be doing a little segment or show on the Liberty Center in the next few weeks, which you'll be giving some more input on the Liberty Center as you know it, and your time and effort. Now, your favorite, we all have a passion from the heart of a role that it really means a lot to us. What was probably over those years, your favorite that you was really passionate about? Little Abner sounds like a lot of fun. I know in high school I did a Oklahoma singing and act. But what was your favorite there at the Liberty Center in those younger days?
Well, again, it would probably be South Pacific, just because it was fun. A lot of singing and dancing, which I'm awkward at, but the lines were fun, and it was just my first start. After I began that production, as my father used to say, I go at everything like I was killing snakes.
Oh, excellent.
So following South Pacific, I was in 19 productions. Not every one of them, but every one of them that I fit in. And I just got to loving to do it, and the people that I was working with and the other players, just trying to learn how to be a performer.
Now that Liberty Center has reopened, been redone in the process, and so those people still can come and see different performances. And we'll talk about more on that when we do the shoot at the Liberty Center. Well, now you still sing with the choir, I guess, at your local church, I understand. So you're still somewhat active and able to exert some of those energies, I guess, with the voice.
Well, I do, even though my voice is failing. I don't have the range that I once did. I've always been a bass singer. I started out in my musical endeavors with State Fair Barbershop chorus, and my very favorite form of music.
Barbershop quartet, is that?
We were a chorus at one point. We were probably 60 strong. I sang with them for 15 years. Finally wore them out.
And what was the name of that group for those that know Sedalia, Missouri?
It was State Fair Barbershop Chorus.
State Fair Barbershop Chorus. Now that sounds like fun too. Naturally singing in high school and later on in life, trying to hit your key and hit your note. That takes work. So I can only imagine in my mind at this moment how much fun it was and how rewarding it would be to see that response from the audience.
Well, I love the close, tight harmony. After the barbershop group failed and is no longer open, I became a member of the Sedalia Chorale and sang with them for 18 years.
Oh my.
COVID shut us down, and it has not since reopened, but I was a member for 18 years. Actually was president of it for about 12 years. So
I see. Well, you mentioned COVID, and that's shut down a lot. I've had to cancel even recently, the last few days, a few shows and reschedule because of COVID. Group out of Kansas City, we had to come down with, two of the members had come down with COVID, so it's affecting us all. Well, Mr. Wolf, we're running out of time, so I want to thank you again for contributing to Spotlight on the Arts. It's been really an inspiring to visit with you, and it's also an informational, educational experience. So I want to thank you again, John, for being my guest today on Spotlight on the Arts.
it's been a pleasure. I look forward to working with you again.
Yes, we'll do a follow-up, and we'll see you in about 3 weeks at the Hayden Liberty Center. Well, that wraps up another look at an inspiring artist here on Spotlight on the Arts. Thank you, viewers, for joining me here today, and special thanks again to the Lamies Building for providing such a great venue here for taping Spotlight on the Arts. Spotlight on the Arts now comes to you on fanforme.com and also DIJ Global Media OT Network streaming. That's the new thing. So if you can, follow us on Fan4Me, GIJ Global Media OTD Network. And that's now under Rick J Presents Spotlight on the Arts. Rick J saying, take care, be safe, and stay healthy. See you next time.